Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new then welcome. My name's Christina and on my channel we talk all things beauty from my own experiences. So before you go, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave any comments that you have for me down below. In this video we are going to be swatching all of the brand new Morphe Drenched and Glazed lip glosses. I saw these and thought, oh my goodness, these look exactly like Tower 28 Milky Jelly and Lip Jelly glosses, like the ShineOn jellies, you know? Not saying that these are dupes, however, it really piqued my interest and I wanted to swatch all of them for you guys. I know that Morphe has not had a lot of launches recently that I have personally been interested in, but this one most definitely is in the category of I had to try it. I picked up all of the shades. Luckily, my local Ulta had all of them in stock, so I picked them up and we're going to be swatching them. I'm going to be sharing the specs on both the Drenched and the Glazed formulations. I'm going to be showing you my first impression of both of them, and then we're going to get into the swatches for each shade. And at the very end, I'm going to share some of my final thoughts and maybe even a comparison to the Tower 28 glosses. So if you're interested in all of that information, then let's get started. We have the Drenched line right here. As you can see right off the bat, very nude, pinky, like wearable type of shades, especially for someone like me who is very into those neutral colors. There are 6 of these shades, which we will get into, but for the glazed formulation there are 7. These are the 7 different glazed one. Now these all fall under the category of Morphe Dripglass. That's the name of them. So here we are. This is the Morphe ShineOn jelly. This one is in the shade Sesame. It's probably my favorite right now. And then this is the Morphe one. This is in the shade Mauve Splash. First glance, the packaging pretty much identical, right? So you have the clear packaging there. You can see all of the mechanisms on the inside, and it just looks so stinking similar. The Tower 28 ShineOn Milky Lip Jellies are my favorite lip glosses today, actually. They are so nice and creamy. They're non-sticky. They're super pigmented. They are just overall amazing lip gloss formulations. And I have a couple of the regular ShineOn jellies. So these are categorized in the Milky Lip Jelly and these are more jelly. The difference is that these are going to be more fully opaque while these tend to be more sheer. Now, in saying all of that, I love my Tower 28 products and lip products. I don't know how I feel about them being duped because I have yet to see anything just blatantly dupe it. These Morphe ones are definitely the closest in aesthetic that I have found, and we'll see if the formulation stacks up, because I mean, it's really hard to beat the Tower 28 formulation. So let's actually start off with the Drenched formulation to begin with. I have them lined up right here. The shades that they have are Naked Dip, Wet Peach, Mauve Splash, Drip Coffee, Deep Brick, and Cocoa Melt. Reading the specs on these really quickly, they are $12 each, both the Drenched and the Glazed versions. This says it's a high coverage color and glass-like shine. Infused with cocoa butter, vitamin E, and chia and olive oils, it leaves lips feeling soft and smooth. Okay, so we're gonna try the shade Naked Dip to start with. All right, let's go ahead and swatch this. Even the doe foot is similar. So they do have a scent to them. They are quite sweet. They're kind of like vanilla frosting. Oh, wow. That is insane pigmentation. Are you kidding me? Look at this pigmentation, and also look how wet it looks. Wow, that's very pretty, and I didn't think that this shade would work for me, but it actually looks like such a pretty creamy nude on my skin tone right now. And I don't even have a lip liner on. That's impressive. If we are comparing this to the Tower 28 Milky Lip Jelly, this is cashew, okay? So the doe foots, very similar. They're pretty much identical. Here is the Tower 28 one, and here is the Morphe one. They are super, super similar, that same pinched in type of doe foot. And I can tell you guys right off the bat from that one swatch, the Morphe ones feel slightly thicker and slightly stickier. The Tower 28 ones like virtually have no stick to them. They're just creamy and they feel really nice on the lips. And this feels good on the lips, but I will say that I felt it drag a little bit because of that stickiness. The Tower 28 ones almost feel like a thicker lip oil, while the Morphe one definitely has a little bit more stickiness to it. But in saying that, it doesn't feel extremely sticky on the lips. I'm not finding that it's like sticking to itself, you know. I would just say that the formulation in general is a little thicker. Now, in terms of the way that this feels on the lips, it does feel like you have some sort of gloss layer on your lips. Feels slightly slippery. This coverage, really, really nice. So again, this is the shade Naked Dip. And just because I'm super curious, I'm going to put this Tower 28 gloss on because I want to feel what it feels like immediately after taking that one off so I can compare how it feels. Okay, so I can say pretty definitively the Tower 28 ones definitely feel a lot thinner and more slippery than the Morphe ones. I think when it's going on, it feels more like a lip oil versus a lip gloss, whereas the Morphe one felt more like a lip gloss. And this layer doesn't feel as thick on the lips. All right, now that we have that first impression out of the way, let's go ahead and go in with the shade Wet Peach. All right, here is the shade Wet Peach. This is really pretty too. It is a little bit lighter than the nude shade that we just did. This one seems to be the lightest on me from the collection from what I can tell. So this is more nude in my opinion than the last nude shade that we did. But this is still really pretty. I feel like if you did a really thin layer of this with a lip liner, it would look really, really nice. I don't know if I would wear this shade by itself on me because that's not really the lip looks that I typically go for, but it is pretty and I could see this looking really, really pretty on a lot of different skin tones. All right, I actually forgot to say the description of these two. So Naked Dip is actually described as a warm brown nude, and then Wet Peach is a peachy pink nude. Now, Mauve Splash is, you guessed it, a mauve. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, here is Mauve Splash. And actually, guys, this shade is very, very pretty. I really like the way that this is complementing my skin tone right now. I don't usually go for mauves and berries, but recently the mauve and berry launches that I have tried are really, really like vibing with me. So maybe I am kind of going towards that kind of tone. But this is really pretty. I think it looks so nice as a wet gloss type of look. And also, I'm sorry if you see my face kind of like peeling and dry around my lips because I have been doing a chemical peel, so my skin is really peely and flaky. Okay, Deep Brick is described as a cool red. I feel like I'm gonna really like this one. Okay, here is the shade Deep Brick, and actually this one doesn't look like any sort of red to me. If anything, I feel like this is more of a pinky brown, which are the types of shades that I usually gravitate towards. So this one I think is super beautiful. I really like this undertone and I like the way that this looks on my lips and against my skin tone. I can see this being such a universal shade. I think everyone would look absolutely gorgeous in Deep Brick. Next, we have the shade Drip Coffee, which is a warm brown nude. And did I actually call the first one Naked Dip the same description? Because that one is a cool brown nude. This is a warm brown nude. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Wow, I really like this shade as well. I think it's such a pretty, kind of more unique nude shade when it comes to nudes, you know? Like this kind of gives me the medium toned brown look, but it's also like warm, but not too warm. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think that this is gorgeous. It's giving me kind of like Fenty Honey Waffles meets Fenty Cookie Jar Cream Bomb. If you mix the two and came out with one shade, I feel like it would kind of look something similar to this. I think it's really beautiful, something very fun and interesting, and I like this. I think that this might be a fun little color to play with. And last in the Drenched collection, we have the shade Cocoa Melt, which is described as a deep chocolate brown shade. Okay, here is the shade Cocoa Melt. So on me, this is going to be the patchiest. This was the one that I had to kind of work with to try to get it super even. But this is such a good alternative to like the deep burgundy shades, you know, like the purpley, vampy shades. I feel like there's something about a dark brown that just makes it look even more elevated, a little bit more modern. I really like this. It makes my skin look a little bit like on the grayish side. It sort of washes me out just a touch, but I don't hate it. I don't think it looks terrible. So before we moved on to the glazed portion, I want to talk a little bit about the drenched formulation. I love the opacity of these. I think they're nice and creamy. They go on fully pigmented pretty much your first swipe, and they do feel very hydrating on the lips. And also when you press your lips together, if you kind of like move them around like this, you don't get any sort of demarcation. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced with maybe an opaque lip gloss. When you press your lips together and then you like part them, the pigment kind of pools in a line wherever you press your lips together. You don't get that with these. I noticed as I was pressing my lips together, the pigmentation pretty much stays in place. I think because there's such an even amount of pigmentation to gloss or, you know, wetness in the formulation that there's enough pigment to fully disperse itself. So that was really nice. I like this formulation and I love the colors that they chose. I love a good neutral lip color, and the fact that pretty much all of these are nudes and neutrals, oh my goodness, they're so pretty. All right, now let's move on to the glazed versions. So like I said, there are 7. These are also $12, and it says that these are a semi-sheer color in glass-like shine. Hydrating gloss glides on a buildable wash of semi-sheer color, also formulated with plant-derived squalane vitamin E, and it says that these look great alone or layered over lipstick. So naturally, let's just start with the clear one. This is in the shade So Transparent. Oh, these doe fits are different. So this one is not like the double side, I guess, where both sides are symmetrical. This one does have an angle to it, to where it angles upwards, and they are quite thin. This also has a scent, but it's not as sweet. It's kind of sweet, a little bit floral. So here's the shade So Transparent. It looks really pretty, very just like clear gloss, but it looks really wet on the lips, but it's not crazy wet where it looks like it's dripping. I know that a lot of people have different preferences when it comes to a clear gloss. This one I think is right in the middle where it's nice and shiny and glossy. It's a little bit wet, but it's also just like not too much, I guess. If you wanted to wear it alone, it could just look like you have super hydrated glossy lips. Next we have Polished Peach, which is a peachy nude shade. All right, here is the shade Polished Peach. Now this goes on pretty opaque when you first apply it, but when you rub your lips together, it kind of shears itself out. However, I don't feel like this looks very even on my lips. I feel like this is definitely a shade that I would wear topping a lip color, so it kind of just adds a little bit of shine. And maybe if the lip color isn't like, it's too dark for what I want, this would kind of soften it up. Ooh, but I don't know how I feel about the way it looks on the lips. The pigmentation looks like it's kind of breaking up on my lips. This is really odd to see. Like you can kind of see it pooling like in between my lines, and also it looks like there's little dots of pigment on my top lip. I'll show you guys a close-up so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, but oh yeah, that is not flattering. I'm gonna press my lips together to see what happens to it. Oh, it does the thing that I was talking about, like when you press your lips together and you get a lot of pigment just pool in one area. It just did it to the outside corners of my lips. Not a fan of this color. I don't know if I'm a fan of this formulation yet. Okay, now going in with Pink Mirror, which is an orangey pink shade. This one looks like it has actual glitter in it, like orangey glitter kind of. These feel more like a lip gloss on the lips than the Drenched formulation. You know, this actually doesn't look too bad. I was intimidated by the way it looks in the tube. It looks like a hot pink, but actually I think the orangey flecks of shimmer in there kind of neutralize it to where it feels a little warmer than a hot, cool pink, you know? So this is actually kind of nice. This kind of reminds me of a pinker version of the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade Moon. Next we have Nude Gleam, which is described as a cool nude. This also looks like it has a little bit of shimmer in it, but not as much as the last shade. Okay, this is really pretty. Like I mentioned, it does seem like it has tiny little flecks of shimmer in there, but it's pretty much negligible when it's on the lips. It just kind of looks like a creamy, milky texture. And I've noticed with the 4 that I've tried so far, less is more when it comes to this pigmentation. I feel like to give it a chance to be that semi-sheer wash of color, you definitely have to go in with a thinner layer, or you risk having that pooling of pigment like we had with that peach shade. So just keep that in mind. I actually think that going forward with the rest of the shades, I am going to do more thin layers of it because I just feel like it looks better that way. Next we have the shade Shatterproof Mauve, which is a mauve shade. I love how mauve shades are just described as mauve. Ooh, this reminds me of Sesame from Tower 28, and I love that shade. Okay, here is Shatterproof Mauve. I feel like this is a good counterpart to the Drenched one in Mauve Splash. This is like the sheer version of it, but it's pretty much the same color. And I think it's really pretty. This gives like a nice like jelly texture look to the lips. Next we have Berry Stained, which is described as your berry shade. Okay, here is Berry Stained. It definitely looks like a berry shade, but also kind of looks like a red tone on myself. I feel like it's pulling a little bit more red, but it is very pretty. And I think as a sheer wash of color, this one would look really nice and fresh on the lips. Lastly, we have the shade Unbreakable Brick, which is described as your warm red shade. Okay, here is the shade Unbreakable Brick. Definitely more opaque than the other ones. It's still a sheer shade, but I would say it's sheer to medium coverage. If I were to categorize it in opacity, I feel like you could get pretty good opacity with this one, but you could also wear it sheared out on top of another shade, maybe a lip liner, or even by itself. So this again is the shade Unbreakable Brick. Okay, now for curiosity's sake, I do want to compare what these feel like on the lips compared to the Tower 28 gloss. So I'm going to take the shade Sesame from Tower 28 and I'm going to compare it to the glazed version of the Morphe Dripglass. The colors are very similar, but I don't think they're going to be color dupes, but I do want to feel what the texture feels like comparatively. So I'm going to put Tower 28 on the left half of my face here. This is like my favorite gloss right now. Okay, it's going on and it feels very, very thin on the lips. Has a lot of slip to it. Just feels really slick, kind of like a balmy, like a liquid balm, you know what I mean? So if you've tried the Rare Beauty balms, it feels similar to those. And now this is the Morphe Glazed. Oh my gosh, the colors are very, very similar, but the Morphe one is slightly lighter in tone. You can definitely tell it's lighter in tone. Ooh, and when I press my lips together, I definitely get a little bit more of a sticky feeling on the Morphe side, whereas the Tower 28 one definitely just feels like a slippery oil type of gloss. Neither are really sticking to itself though, but here's what they look like if you want to see what they look like when it comes to shine, coverage. Again, this is Tower 28, and then this one is Morphe. I think aesthetically, they give the same sort of shine, they look the same, but the way that the texture feels on the lips are very different in my opinion. The Tower 28 ones are more slippery, thinner, and they're not sticky whatsoever, while the Morphe ones are more reminiscent to a gloss where it is a little bit like you kind of feel a little bit of friction when you press your lips together. It's not as slippery. It definitely has that slip to it, obviously because it's a gloss, you know, but it feels thicker on the lips as well. It doesn't feel terrible. It doesn't feel like a very old school tacky lip gloss type of thing. It's still a very comfortable formulation. I wouldn't say that these are spot on dupes. It's just really the tubes that are like exactly the same. If you like something that's more balmy, if you like something that has zero zero stickiness to it, and you like something that is going to kind of just add hydration to the lips throughout the day, Tower 28 would still be your best bet. While if you're looking for something that has the same look, if you're looking for something that has, you know, the colors that the Morphe ones do, or if you like something that feels a little bit more tacky because that tends to wear longer on the lips, then the Morphe ones would be a really good option. The Tower 28 ones are $16 while the Morphe ones are $12, so there's really only a $4 difference, so it's not like you're saving a ton of money. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the shade Shatterproof Mauve on my lips for the last portion of the video. All right, so let's talk final thoughts on the formulation of each of these on their own. So I have the drenched ones right here and I have the glazed ones right here. So comparing these two to each other, so obviously if you want something super opaque, similar to a liquid lipstick that has that shine, the drenched ones are going to be your best bet. I love how pigmented these are. These are so similar to a regular lipstick, but it's in the form of a liquid, in the form of a glossy liquid lipstick, which I think is so fun, and it just makes it so easy to just reapply when you're on the go or if you're out or something. You literally only have to pull out one lip product and then you have that gloss and you have that color all in one. I love that they're neutrals. They're just my vibe. If you are a fan of pops of color and bold colors, maybe these aren't going to be your first option, but for me, I think that they are really good, just like staple shades. The glazed ones are very pretty. I think semi-sheer opacity is the perfect way to describe them. If anything, I would say that they're sheer to maybe medium. I think that these would be really great as standalone products on your lips. You can wear them sheared out, but I also think that it would add a little extra something to a lip color, but just know that these are pigmented enough to kind of alter your lip color. Like say your lip color is too dark, you could grab one of these and kind of lighten up your lip color if you're finding that your lip color is a little too dark than what you anticipated, you know. Or if your lip color is too light, you can go for something like this, or if you want a tone that is similar to a mauve or, you know, more red, you can always like modify your lip color just depending on what you top it with. And these would be great because it gives you a lot of opportunity to play with that color. I think that these are actually a really good launch from Morphe. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there hasn't been a lot that Morphe has come out with recently that have piqued my interest, but these most definitely piqued my interest, and I honestly don't think that they disappoint. The fact that you have full opacity versions and then you have those sheer options as well, I think it's really nice and versatile. They came out swinging, honestly, because they came out with so many shades, I would say. I think that I could see myself wearing these like throughout an everyday makeup day, you know what I mean? So I'm excited about these. I'm excited to keep playing with these. I think they are a solid option. Now, do I think they're super innovative in their formulation? No, I don't, but I do like the formulation. Now, are they going to give me long-lasting hydration? I don't know about that. I will have to let you guys know in the description box later on once I get to wear these for a longer period of time. But as long as they don't make my lips feel dry and flaky after they fade, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be happy. Those were all of the swatches. Those are all of my thoughts. You guys let me know which shades were your favorites, if you're planning on picking any of these up, or if I helped you decide if you are or are not gonna be picking them up. And that's everything. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I will be linking all of the products down below in my description box, as well as in the YouTube affiliate shopping program, which you can find in the little icon in this video. Before you guys go, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out my channel, and it also tells YouTube where to bring my videos and who to suggest them to. So I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.